things I have to do here before I can do my solar. Got my batteries underneath the table. I'm going to take everything out and basically inventory what I have to make sure before I start this project I have everything that I need. So I'm going to show you all the equipment that I'm going to be using. And I'll start with my charge controller. This will be like box openings. I decided against the Outback. I'm saving that for a larger system if I need it. This one will do me just fine considering what I'm going to be using. This is the Epever Tracer 40 amp charge controller. So what we have here, I've never looked in here, so these are all new to me. Well, that's obviously the hookup to read everything. So screws, the cable to go to the, I forget what that's called. There's the MT50, which will let me do all the functions and read the status of everything. And finally, there's another called temperature sensor. Wow. Instruction manual for the remote meter. I don't know. And all I know is I've got a lot to learn as I'm putting this together. And I'll be keeping all the boxes and all the documentation. There is my MPPT charge controller. That should do the trick. This will do 12 volt, 24 volt, 36 volt, or 48 volt. 150 volts maximum. Oh, this is 60 amp charge controller. I thought it was a 40. 60 amp charge controller. So let me put that out of the way. I can mount that right on the wall, which I'm going to be mounting everything on a board. That I can then mount the board on the wall, and when I move the system, which eventually I will, I can move the whole control panel and everything. So there's the charge controller. This box, another heavy one. This has This is my converter that will go from the 24 volts, because my battery bank is going to be 24 volts, and mounting hardware and an extra fuse. This is, get that in the camera there. Like I said, this is I'm going to bring my output out from the battery bank, 24 volts from the battery bank. This will put out 12 volt power, because most of my lighting is going to be 12 volt LED. And as much as I can run off a 12 volt, I will. So I have to convert the power. So there's my converter. This is my for making my cables. This is a crimper that I can put my battery cables in there with the ends on it, pound it down, and we're good to go. Tool. This is my multimeter. This will be a very important tool. A couple of, looks like 4 I don't know what size they are. Welding cable. A couple cables. And this, oh, I got more in here. This is a 100 amp breaker. These, for some reason, are 175 amp fuses. So, gotta figure out where I'm gonna need everything. This is a fuse holder. That's a 100 amp fuse. So, I think those 175 amp fuses I was shipped by mistake, and it was one of those things where it was just keep them. It was cheaper than sending them back. And this, my friends, Alright, what do we got in here? A remote power switch. More. Okay, these are the same size as the other ones. I'll have to check to see what size those are. And then alright, this is my 2000 watt inverter. Not converter. This is going to take my 24 volts of DC power and convert it to 110 AC. Christmas at St. Bernard Acres. Alright, that's the main components of the system. Now, let's see what else I brought. This is a kit with the strippers and everything for my MC4 connections. And I got a bunch of MC4 connectors in here. So I can make all my own cables coming from the solar panels. Some of the stuff I had when I was testing solar before, and some of it I bought. What have we in here? But after I use a branch connector to connect them in series, these will connect the two wires in parallel so that I can send them on into the cabin. That's what these branch connectors are for. And in here I have branch connectors that I will use to connect the other 6 panels when I put them up. These are not the Y. Those are regular ones. Regular ones. This is a 100 amp dim rail breaker. And I've got a 30 amp breaker. And I've got a 20 amp breaker. You guys will see where all this stuff has to go in. These are 10 gauge lugs. Oh, good. I got cutters. I didn't know I had these. That's pretty awesome. Hopefully I can cut some wires. These are bus bars. Negative and positive bus bars. I got one of each. They'll go on the board. All of the connections, you know, the battery, the charge controller, the inverter, the converter, everything will go through these bus bars. You guys thought setting up solar was simple. This is number 8 wire with lugs to go from the, I'm going to make them to go from the charge controller to the batteries. This is number 8, 50 feet of black, 50 feet of red. That will be going from the solar panels. This is my mini DIN rail service panel. That's the DIN rail right there. And these breakers will snap onto that. This Midnight Solar. And then it's like a mini breaker box is what that is. So, because I got to have a place to put those breakers. This will run, this will be where I can cut off and isolate various parts of my system. You know, the solar panels will come into here before it goes to the charge controller. That way I can cut off my solar panels if I need to work on the system. This will go from the charge controller to the batteries. I can kill that connection. Everything's going to have a kill switch on it. Oh, cables. Heavy cables. What do I have? These are number 1. This is probably, this is what I'll use on my battery bank if I have enough of this. I don't know how many I have. I need 3 to go put them in series. I don't think these are long enough to do anymore. But these are cables I made. That's just plain cable. I don't know why I made one that long. I don't know if that's what I was going to. I think this is what I used when I had the 12-volt system to go from the battery bank to the inverter. I used number 1. And now you can use number 4 because I'm going 24 volts. So yeah, I have all the wire I need. That's what I was worried about. What have I got in this bag? Inline fuses. Oh, this is all my DC stuff. Looky here. 4-pack of number 1 lugs. Just what I needed. So I can make 4 more cables if I needed to. I think I have everything I need. I still have to make some wires. This is going to be obviously a multi-part series. This is going to be all of the tools and supplies that I'm going to need. To put all this together. I mean, this is overkill, but better safe than sorry. And I don't want to not use this stuff. This is so expensive that I'm really glad that I was able to that these actually fit bars. So anyway, there's the parts that you're going to need to put this system together. Now obviously, depending on the size of your system, you don't have to have a 60 amp charge controller. You don't have to have a 2000 watt inverter. You saw, I showed you what I started with in the RV. A 30 amp charge controller, PWM charge controller mind you, and a 1000 watt inverter. I didn't need that much in that RV. But you try to run as much as you can in DC power. 12 volt. Okay. Sorry, I'm thinking. I'm running through my head how I'm going to set all this up. The fuses, the circuit breakers, that, you know, I'll show you as I put the board together. That's going to be the next episode. Is I'm going to put a sheet of plywood up here and mount all of these pieces onto it, run all of the wires except the connection to the batteries and the connection to the solar panels. But I'll have everything else done and on a board. Everything wired where all I got to do is plug in the solar panels, well, plug in the batteries, and then plug in the solar panels. So I'll be good. I have to make a box for my batteries, I have 6 of them. And for right now, they're going to be inside the cabin. I'm going to build like a bench over here to hide them. With I'll put a hole through the wall and a piece of PVC to where it can vent and get air. But I'm making a bench. All of my control, everything will be on this wall here where I can check everything. And you go right into the box. But this fall I'm going to be building a power room on the back of the cabin. And then all this stuff will move out to there. The generator will go in there for when it's needed. It'll be its own little room out there. But hope y'all enjoyed this. Give you an idea of the stuff you got to have when you start putting the system together. Wow. And it's depending on how you buy it. I mean, it's a lot of money. But as it is, I'm probably around $1,500 for the whole system. Maybe $1,300. I'll see after I put it together and find out what else I need to buy. But this is pretty. I'm anxious to get this going now. So this is going to be part 1. Part 2 will be building the board and mounting it in the box. And then part 3 will be actually hooking it up, testing it all, and running it. That's how I'm going to have to do this. So like I said, I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Share this so other people can learn. Comment on it. Leave me advice. Don't be afraid to make suggestions or ask questions, because the nice thing about my subscribers is if you ask a question, if I don't know the answer to it, they will, and they will answer for me. So ask questions. I'll tell you if I don't know it. Remember, like, comment, share, subscribe, ding that bell so that you know when I upload the next video, part 2 of this thing, of actually laying it out on a board and showing you how it works. This is Joe out at the cabin, getting ready to do solar. I'm out.